guess now I see why my son likes using the gun stock. Although I'm more comfortable without it.
VR for life.
VR for life. You got that right. Oh, so I just wanted to get warmed up a little bit. And then we'll talk about the analyzing that I did this morning. I did tinker around some more with Pavlov on 5 different platforms. Oh, but Christ. All right, so. Oh, shit. Oops, sorry. Even though I'm playing against bots.
Have you experienced any of the controller issues on the PSVR?
No, I haven't. Now, one of the things that I heard is that it's possible that some of the controller issues people were having might be related to that Discord beta that they have on their PS5s. So I don't know how much truth there is to that, but I have not had any problems with my controllers. So oh my god, I got popped. Okay, so let's head on back so I can. Okay, so first of all, I want to thank everybody who tuned in to yesterday's stream and watched my son play this game, and you saw a real assassin go to work. I mean, my son had one session where he got 55 kills. He had another session with 47 kills. In another session with 51 kills. When he had a bad session, he was still getting 20 kills. My son is an assassin at this game. Basically, what happened was, when I had my son play this game, what I basically did was had somebody from the PC side. I took a shot in the head. I had somebody from the PC side basically jump over on the PlayStation side. So what I did this morning is I took a look at Pavlov again on 5 different formats. And when I say 5 different formats, I'm talking about headsets, more or less. You guys heard me say it before. I've got 3 PCs, a 4090, 3080 Ti, and a 3070 Ti. I have a VR headset attached to every one of those PCs. On the 4090, I have an HP Reverb G2 connected to that one. The 3080 Ti, I have a Quest 2 that I'm using as a PC headset. On the third PC, I have a Rift S. Now, the other 2 platforms that I'm speaking of was PSVR 2, and then I have a second Quest 2 that I use as a standalone headset. So altogether, I have, let me see, 2 Quests, a Rift, HP Reverb, PSVR 2, what did I say? 2 Quests, a Rift S, HP Reverb, PSVR 2. So I think I got at least 5 headsets in here. So what I'm going to do is tell you what I found. Like, I'm going to break it down in different categories, video, like the visuals, the audio, tracking, controller input, gameplay, that kind of stuff. And I'm going to rank them, telling you what I think is first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So when I give you the rankings, I'm not going to speak of the PCs. Let's just take all of that out of it. I'm going to rank them based on the headsets. So I'll say in this category, the G2 looks best or runs best, whatever the case may be. So starting with the big elephant in the room, in my opinion, would be the visuals, because that's the one thing that everybody has been consistently asking about is the PSVR 2 blurry? And my response to that is that initially when you put the headset on, it can look blurry. But you have to play with the headset. You have to move the headset around until you get it into that sweet spot. You have to play with the IPD adjustment, that dial on the top that spreads the lenses out or brings them in closer until you find that's what you're comfortable with. And then you may have to go back in and recalibrate the eye tracking. So, but I will say that you can get it to a point where everything's clear. May not be razor sharp, but you can get it to a point where everything is clear. So, starting with the visuals. My HP Reverb had the sharpest picture, and that was obvious for a couple of reasons. Out of the headsets that I have, it has the highest native resolution at 2160p. On my PC, I have super sampled the resolution up to 3100p. So it undoubtedly has the sharpest picture at 3100p. I would say the Quest 2 that I have hooked up to my PC that has the 3080 Ti, that had the second sharpest picture. PSVR 2 had the third sharpest picture, but it was pretty close to the Quest 2 that I have hooked up to the PC. And the big difference was that the PC that I said, the Quest 2 that I said ranks second as far as the visuals goes, the picture's a little bit sharper, but because the picture's a little bit sharper, depending on what you're looking at and how close you are to it, you can probably see the jaggies a little bit more. In the picture, probably I don't know if I want to use the word grainy, but it is a little bit sharper. In the case of PSVR 2, it's close to the Quest 2 in terms of the visual sharpness. But the soft edges actually have a little bit of an advantage. Because of the soft edges of PSVR 2, you do see less jaggies. So there's a little bit of a trade-off there. So fourth, as far as visual sharpness goes, was my Rift S. And the only thing that's stopping me from ranking it higher is the screen door effect. That headset has a resolution of 1440p, and so it doesn't have as many pixels as the other headsets, and it shows if you go out of your way to look for it. You will see the screen door effect if you go out of your way to look for it. If you go out of your way to look for it, it's right there in your face. The Quest 2 as a standalone looked the worst. It looked blurry. Not unplayable blurry, but it was a little bit blurry. So, next up is audio. When I speak of audio, I'm talking about out of the box audio, not adding, headphones or anything like that to it. Out of the box, PlayStation VR had the best audio. The earbuds that come with this headset are pretty good. I mean, if you want to go ahead and use the Pulse headphones, that's fine. But me, I'm more than fine with the earbuds that come with it. So, out of the 5 headsets tested or 5 formats tested, PlayStation VR had the best audio. The Reverb G2 had the second best audio. The audio is pretty good. It has its own, it has a set of speakers that cover your ears that's next to your ears. The problem with that audio is that there's probably about a 1/4 inch or half an inch of space between your ear and the headphones that hang down from the head strap. And so while it sounds good, it still lets in the sound from the rest of the world. So you still hear everything that goes on around you, and sometimes I feel like that can disrupt the immersion a little bit. Whereas with PSVR 2, these earbuds, once you put these earbuds on, you go into that world, and the rest of in the outside world don't even exist to you anymore. And then the other headsets, Quest and Rift S, they all tied for last because the built-in audio that comes with those headsets are dog shit. Next category that I think I want to go with would probably be haptics. And again, PlayStation VR 2 had the best haptics. The adaptive triggers, the haptics within the headset definitely adds to the immersion. When you go to shoot a gun, the triggers are a little bit more stiff. So PSVR wins with the haptics. I would probably say the Quest 2 might be second, but the HP Reverb G2 had the worst haptics. I mean, the rumble in those controllers feels like a mobile phone. It's like barely noticeable. Controllers. I guess I'll break that down into 2 categories. One would be, well, I already said haptics. I guess.
The Quest headset battery life.
Well, the original Quest, the battery life on that was a few hours, but the Quest 2, the battery life on those controllers is incredible. I mean, I've gone as long as a week without having to change batteries. If you play like a hour a day or something like that, you probably won't have to change batteries for about a week with the Quest 2. So, tracking. For the most part, the Quest 2 has had the best tracking. And I think it still holds true there, but at the end of the day, all these headsets, if the cameras can see the controllers, the tracking works on all of them. But so I would dare say that the Quest and the Rift S had the best tracking. And maybe I would say that the PSVR 2 is next.
Yo, can't wait to get my VR.
Yeah, you're going to love it. And then I would probably say at the bottom, as far as the tracking goes, would be the Reverb G2. But again, as long as the headset can see the controllers, the tracking works. So the tracking, as far as I'm concerned, is good with all of them. The one caveat, though, is the Quest 2 controllers. Over time, from being used so much, the controllers can develop drift to the point where it's unbearable. And I keep electrical contact cleaner around so I can clean the controllers, and a lot of times that eliminates the drift for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks or whatever, and then the drift come back and I have to clean them again. But there's some days where I clean those controllers and the drift just doesn't go away, and I have to do multiple things to get the drift to go away. Sometimes, I have to take the battery out, put the battery back in. Sometimes I have to unpair the controllers from the headset. So the drift with the Quest controllers has gotten so bad that my son doesn't even want to touch Quest headsets anymore. But he'll deal with it when he comes over here. But at home, he has a his preferred headset is the Valve Index. He's got 3 headsets: a Rift S, the Quest 2, and the Valve Index. But his preferred headset is the Valve Index. He doesn't care if it's 1600p resolution. It has a bigger field of view, a higher refresh rate, and the tracking is pretty much unbeatable because of the light bases, because it's using outside tracking. So controller input, I would probably say, and when I say controller inputs, I'm speaking of the buttons, the thumbsticks, the ergonomics. That's the word I'm looking for. The ergonomics of the the controllers. I would probably say that the Quest 2 and the Rift S controllers are the best controllers ergonomically. And I would consider ergonomically the PSVR 2 controllers.
What do Clay see you enjoying PSVR 2?
Oh yeah, I got a lot to say about that. I got PC. I got 3 PCs. So PSVR 2 isn't giving me anything that I haven't already done in VR, because I've been doing VR since 2016. The reason why I'm so excited for PSVR 2 is because Sony made a headset that is finally up to industry standards. And what that means is developers now, when they develop a game for PC, they can bring it over to PSVR or vice versa. They make a game for PSVR, they can port it to PC. The old PSVR, the PS4 was limited with power, and the Move controllers, made mapping out controls for games a nightmare. So a lot of games were on PC that did not come to PSVR 1. Now they're starting to come. Announcements are starting to pop up left and right about games that's coming to PSVR 2 that had already been on PC for years. Even today, I seen that there's an announcement that Poker Stars VR, which a game I absolutely been playing for years on PC and Quest that I absolutely love, is coming to PSVR 2. It's been announced. It was supposed to come to PSVR a couple of years ago, but my guess is that the controllers probably made it more trouble than it's worth to bring it over there, because the game is on Quest. So graphics would not have been an issue with the old PSVR. So I can only assume the controllers were the issue. So simply put, to put it in simple terms, the old PSVR, because those controllers did not have thumbsticks, it just made it a headache, I think, for devs to bring some games over there. But now with these new Sense controllers, they have thumbsticks. Like I said, now they've caught up with industry standards. When it comes to VR controllers, the majority of VR controllers have a thumbstick. They have 2 buttons, XO, XO, triangle, square, or AB, AB, Y, YX, whatever you want to call it. They, have an option button, a menu button, and shit like that. So Sony finally made some controllers that are up to industry standards, so ports will be easy. The devs, I think, will have to, I don't know much about porting. I don't know anything about porting, but I have to assume that because these controllers are up to industry standards, they can just port any game right on over, and that is going to bring us more quality games in VR, and that's where my excitement is, because because of the Oculus Quest, when the Oculus Quest was taking over the VR scene, a lot of developers were developing for the Quest, and we were getting these games with these rinky-dink Minecraft graphics. So, and then you also factor in that Sony pretty much act like they abandoned, PSVR 1 because they were getting ready for PSVR 2. So the only thing that was keeping PC VR alive was the modders like Luke Ross and Praydog. They were taking all the AAA games that that everybody's been playing, like Grand Theft Auto, Cyberpunk, Elden Ring, all these games. They all have VR mods on PC. You can take just about any one of these games and play them in VR. Spider-Man Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Death Stranding, they all have VR mods, and you can play these games in VR, and that's what was keeping the PC VR scene alive while the Quest was taking over. Now that PSVR 2 is here and is getting ready to take VR to the mainstream, we don't have to rely on the VR modders anymore, even though it's still good to have them around. But now we can get official ports, for some of our favorite games. We can, some of our favorite flat screen games can officially get VR support, like the case with Resident Evil Village. Because before Resident Evil Village came to PSVR 2, the only way we could play it in VR was on PC through one of the VR mods, courtesy of Praydog or Luke Ross. So I think getting to the last category I think I wanted to talk about, ranking PC VR and against PSVR 2. What was the last category that I wanted to talk about? I don't know, maybe usability. PSVR 2 is plug and play. So is the Quest version. PC, you got to go through a fucking checklist to make sure everything's running right like it's supposed to. And then with PC, if you don't have the game, if you don't have Pavlov on an SSD or M.2 drive, the shit takes forever to boot up, and it only takes seconds to boot up on PSVR 2. So a win there for PSVR 2. Cost. This game is $25 and well worth it. But graphically, the Quest 2 standalone version of this game looks the worst, but it's free. If you have the MetaQuest app on your phone and you search for Pavlov, it is in the App Lab store, which is kind of like a hidden store. That's almost like you got all your shit up front in the regular store, and then you go in the back of the store. That's kind of what the App Lab is. It's like the back of a store where all the shit is at that nobody don't really notice. But so you go into the MetaQuest app and you type in Pavlov, and it's there, and it'll say Pavlov Shack Beta or whatever. It's free, and I believe it is crossplay with PC. So yeah, the Quest version, the Quest standalone version of Pavlov looks the worst, but it's free, and you can't argue with that price. So I sum it up like this. The PSVR version of Pavlov may not have the sharpest picture, but it is the best all-around experience. The audio is great. The colors are great. The haptics are great. And my son, so after spending all day playing Pavlov on PSVR 2, my son summed it up like this. He would prefer to play Pavlov on PSVR 2 over PC. He says the only time that he would be interested in playing Pavlov on PC is when he plays the modded maps. And that's pretty much the advantage that PC has over PSVR is the modded maps, because they allow the community to create their own maps and upload it to the game. So other than the mods, I would say the best experience for Pavlov is on PSVR 2. So so this is, you know, so I guess I could say that the dog with the loudest bark don't necessarily have the, you know, the biggest bite. My son also said that he thinks the guns sound better on the PSVR version than it does on PC. You know, the heavy guns got more bass. So he definitely loves the audio of PSVR 2. So that's where I sum this up. So the best all-around experience is on PSVR 2. So my son also, something else I forgot to mention. Well, I already said about the controller drift. My son's fed up with the controller drift. So he likes the Sense controllers better than the Quest 2 controllers. Even if the Quest 2 controllers has better tracking, the drifting is just, my son just can't stand it anymore. He also loves the eye tracking. When my son first saw that, it blew him away. The eye tracking of the PSVR 2, when you walk up on people and you start talking to them in Pavlov, you can see their eyes moving around. You can see it when they blink. And my son absolutely loves that too. He loves the eye tracking. So here's a search and destroy. Let's see if we can get in there. Up, that lobby's full. There's a death match. Here's another team. Here's the team death match within data center. Let's go in there. What is he thinking about? Is there bots in here or something? Woo!
Nice.
Die, asshole. What the fuck? I hope that wasn't a teammate that I shot. Oh shit, sorry. Got itchy trigger finger. Shh. Shh. You got that right. Move your ass.
Come on. Come on.
Shouldn't have brought your ass up here. Oh shit! Almost gave you the business. Nice one. Right there. Motherfucker. Look out, look out, look out, look. Get out the hallway, get out the hallway. Right there. See him right there? Got him pinned.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Ah, fuck.
I don't even like this gun. I might go ahead and die on purpose. Hey, 11 kills, 1 death. Damn! Yes, sir. Yeah, let me take a seat while we wait for the next. Oh, we got bots in here too. No wonder there was so many easy kills.
Zombies?
Oh shit! Am I the host now? No, it doesn't give me the. It doesn't give me an option to start it. So no, I guess I'm not the host.
I am not the host.
Nope, doesn't give me an option to change it. Nope, I'm not the host.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Guess I am the host. Sorry, folks. Oh my God.
Would you say the resolution looks better than the Quest 2 with PCVR?
Quest 2 on PCVR, the picture is just ever so slightly sharper, but they're pretty close. Son of a bitch, he got away.
How did you get the chat to read into the headset?
I'm sorry, if you could repeat that one. Come on back out. Oh! Damn!
How did you get the chats to read into the headset with the voice?
Oh, shit. Oh, shit, I didn't know this was an automatic. So as far as if you're talking about the speech chat, you go into... Oh, damn it. You go into like the broadcast settings, and then you enable speech chat. It's the only way you'll be able to get comments, because it doesn't display the chat inside the headset, which is a little bit of a miss. See the helmet rolling.
Have you tried Gran Turismo 7 without the steering wheel in VR?
Nope, and I will not either. I've been sim racing for years, and a wheel is the only way I'll race. Really, dude? Got shot by a teammate? Really, man? Let me turn off this player. Turn off the virtual stock.
I want to eventually get a racing sim set up, but right now I don't know if I should get Gran Turismo for the PlayStation VR if I don't have that.
Just had some issues with the controllers. So, yeah, I mean, if you see me play a sim, I'm actually having controller issues. This shit's all over the place now. So I guess there we have it. All right. No, I might do a Gran Turismo stream after this. Yeah, I got controller issues. This shit's
I got you, big man. I'm with you.
This-
Shot at.
this shit. Yeah, this shit cocked like a motherfucker.
Sorry, I have a lot of questions, huh?
Yeah, go ahead, ask away. And I'll answer the questions as best as I can. Oh shit! Ah!
Is the screen door effect better or worse than Quest 2?
I think they're about the same, cause I think part of what screen door effect has to do with the native resolution of the headset. So a headset with a native resolution of 1080p is probably going to have. Oh shit! It's probably going to have more screen door effect because it has less pixels, so there's more space in between the pixels. The Quest 2 has a native resolution of 1948 or something like that, 1948p, and the PSVR 2 has a native resolution of like 2048p. So neither of those headsets are a full 2160p, but they're close. They're close enough for me to call it 4K. That being said, the screen door effect is damn near non-existent. You pretty much don't see it, in my opinion. I mean, in my opinion, if you'll blow your eyeballs out trying to look for the screen door effect with those headsets. All right.
God damn.
Alright, your turn, babe.
Yeah, I'm having issues. I'm having controller issues now. Might be time to shut it down more sooner than later.
Maybe it's the IPD of the Quest 2 that makes it a little blurry for me when I look in the distance, but it happens for even high-end PC VR game.
I'll put it this way. Hey, well, let me back out of this. Okay, I had to leave that session. Okay, so when it comes to VR, it's just the way VR is for the most part.
My right controller is giving me a hard time.
Yeah, I was just having some controller issues here. I don't know what that was all about. That was really the first time I experienced some controllers. The controller issue, the right controller was getting wonky and all over the place. I don't know what that's about. So coming back to about the blurriness that you speak of in the distance. Simply put, just about all VR headsets are like that. Everything you see up close is sharp, and everything you see in the distance is blurry. Now, when it comes to sim racing, everything in the distance, I need it to be as sharp as possible because I need to be able to see those corners from far away so I can see the corner as it's coming to me and I can decide how I'm going to approach that corner. And so when it comes to sim racing, my PC that has the 4090 on it, along with the Reverb G2, that headset has a native resolution of 2160p, but I have it super sampled to 3100p. It is absolutely razor sharp. It is all my games have the sharpest picture that I've ever seen on that PC. And so the racing sims that I play on PC, speaking of ACC and Automobilista 2, those games are unbelievably clear. I mean, razor sharp. Even everything in the distance is sharp. I can make out everything, which is important to me. Now, in the case of PSVR 2, a GT7, the distance can be a little bit blurry. And that goes back to me saying that you have to play with the headset. You got to move the headset around until you find that sweet spot. You have to play with the IPD adjustment until you find a sweet spot. And you might even have to calibrate the eye tracking again. So, so in the case of GT7 on PSVR 2, It's not razor sharp like my PC, but it's good enough for me to see what I need to see. It's good enough for me to see the corners in the distance, even if they're not razor sharp. I can still see them in the distance, so I know how to approach the corner when I get to the corner. Brake markers, they can be blurry in the distance, but given how small the brake markers are, that's natural. But
Sup Clay, it's Fatal.
what's up? What's up, Fatal? The brake markers, they come into focus when I need them to come into focus. I need the brake markers to come into focus before I get to the corner, so I can judge where I'm going to brake at. So, for instance, when the first brake marker shows up and it says 300 meters, I need to be able to see the next one. So the next brake marker is either going to be at 250 or 200. That's the one that I need to see. The one that comes in view, the one behind it, is the one that I need to be able to see clearly as well. That being said, again, GT7, it does what it needs to do for me. It's not razor sharp, but it's clear enough for me to see what I need to see. The corners, like I said, the corners, they can be blurry in the background.
Do you think that because the PSVR 2 optimizes one console, it ends up having better graphical geometry? I noticed that the Kayak VR looks bad.
I have not seen Kayak VR on PSVR 2. I have it on PC. And it took me about a whole 15 minutes to get bored with it. So I didn't see any point in buying anything on PSVR 2 that was going to bore me in 10 minutes. But people talk about Kayak VR on PSVR 2. Some people have talked about ghosting a little bit. Others act like it's the hottest thing since Sunburn, like they've never seen anything like it, as if the PC version doesn't exist. I've seen side-by-side comparisons, and the PC version undoubtedly has more detail. Where the PSVR 2 has the advantages with the OLED screen, the blacks are really black. So I don't know. You know, I've been meaning to do a GT7 stream, and because of how these controllers are acting wacky, I might just hop on over there in a few minutes.
For me, the PC VR version of it looks kind of 2D on the geometry, but in videos it doesn't. Don't know what's that all about.
I've been doing VR for so long that some games feel like just another VR game to me. And so when I got into Kayak VR on PC, I acknowledged that it looked good, but I don't think it blew me away as it was anything that I've never seen before. I still think an argument can be made that Half-Life Alyx is the best looking game that I've ever seen in VR.
What's the best graphical VR game in your opinion?
Yeah, I was just said that. I think the argument can be made as far as games that were built from the ground up for VR, probably Half-Life Alyx, and then I think maybe Lone Echo might be second. And I don't know, I might put Horizon Call of the Mountain maybe third or fourth. Now, Lone Echo 2, the reason why I didn't say that was third is because Lone Echo 2 had some problems with development. It had been delayed a couple of times, and it showed when the game came out. There were times where the game looked absolutely stunning, and there was times where you could see that something didn't look right. There was times where things had a cut and paste look to it, like somebody cut an image out and pasted it into the background or whatever. So because of that, I disqualified whatever that is. So,
Vault.
what the fuck? How am I still in here? I thought I was gone. There we go. I'm out of there now. All this time I've been blabbing. I probably was pissing them off because a couple of people get a little bit butthurt when they hear me rambling on, talking about the different headsets. But I think this is just, in my opinion, because PSVR 2 is the new hot item, but it's also surrounded in a little bit of controversy because of whether it's blurry or not. That's a question that I expect that I'm going to have to answer pretty regularly. So, but yeah, 1, 2, and 3. I probably say Half-Life Alyx, the first Lone Echo, and maybe
I might have to buy a VR. It's everywhere. Lol, I'm having FOMO. Would you expect Alyx to come to PSVR?
Absolutely. Valve have already said some things where they were dropping hints that it could come to PSVR. Not only that, because a while back Valve said they liked the idea of working with Sony. To me, translation, I take that as we'll find a way to get Half-Life Alyx onto PSVR 2. Secondly, I think somebody had showed a screenshot of Half-Life
Virgil. What's up, Lincoln?
True Virgil was good. I think somebody had posted a screenshot.
Fatal says, bro, I can't stop playing Gorn. The deaths in that game never get old.
Hey, Fatal, Gorn, I played that game and I hit the wall and I thought I broke my hand, and I mean that shit was hurting for about a week. I could barely squeeze it. So yeah, when you smashing shit, and the thing about Gorn is when you play Gorn, it's a lot. When you hear something behind you, it's easier to turn around in real life instead of using the controllers to turn around. So you end up losing where your starting point is.
True Virgil says, is Fatal crying again?
No, actually, Fatal has a PSVR headset, and he's having the time of his life right now. I've been seeing his videos that he's been posting on Twitter, his videos on YouTube, and I couldn't be happier for him. So, yeah, I think
Do you think they will make a sequel to Alyx?
I do believe that Valve is working on something, and I think it had been rumored that it may not necessarily be a Half-Life Alyx, but it is something. It has something to do with Half-Life. One of the Half-Life games. And currently on Steam, Half-Life 1 had got VR support from Valve. So I guess like Half-Life and Half-Life Episode 1 or some shit like that already got VR support from Valve themselves. And they did it really easy. All you do is do an update, and then you turn the game on, and then you'll just see the VR option in the menu screen. And I think if there's Half-Life Episode 2 or something like that, because I think that's supposed to be the next coming game to get VR support as far as the Half-Life franchise goes. So
Maybe the next Counter-Strike could be VR lol. Seems like Counter-Strike Go just lives on forever.
I think if they were to do a Counter-Strike in VR, it would have to be separate from the flat screen game. And see, here's the thing about first-person shooters in VR versus flat first-person shooters flat screen. It's the loading mechanics. Case in point, with a flat screen game, when you run out of bullets, in most cases, you just hit the X or the square button, and you'll see an animation of your character reloading the gun. In VR, for most games, you physically have to do it yourself. You have to physically reach out and pull the clip out of the gun yourself, reach down and grab another clip from your belt, pop it into the gun, and then pull the slide. That would give an advantage to the flat screeners because they're holding a controller. They don't have to physically load their gun, so they're always going to have an advantage for people who are slow at reloading their guns. Now, in the case of my son is lightning quick when it comes to reloading his gun, so he could actually load guns in VR faster than flat screen people do playing first-person shooters. So, in order to keep the playing field level, if Counter-Strike was to get any kind of VR support, it would have to be a built from the ground up VR game, and you would have to keep the user base separate from the flat screeners. The only way something like that would work is if you were to use an aim controller like they had on the original PSVR. So yeah, I think I've had my fill of Pavlov for the day, and I think I can jump over to Gran Turismo and do a couple of races over there, and then call it a night. So I need a moment to take this headset off. One of the bad things about this headset is the Halo strap. It pretty much doesn't have any cushion underneath it, and I think that was by design so you could feel the head haptics. And the problem with that is you have to twist the knob really tight to get the headset to stay on your head firmly. Otherwise, it'll slide around and shit like that, and it'll fuck up your sweet spot, and then you got to move it around again until you get it to where you want. So that being said, when you twist that knob really tight and it squeezes your head, it actually, it gets uncomfortable and can even give me a headache after a while. So I got to take this headset off for a minute, almost like saying I got to take it off for a minute so my head can breathe and the blood can flow and shit like that. And then I can put the headset back on and jump into some GT7. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and close shop for a second. And I'll see you guys on GT7 in a little bit, especially with these controllers starting to freak out on me. That's not good. So with that, we'll see y'all in a little bit on GT7. Thanks for watching, and catch you in a little bit.